President Trump hosts New York City Mayor-elect Mamdani at the White House. More illegal aliens with CDLs are brought to light. And the Trump administration aims to improve the foster care system. I'm Georgia Howe with Daily Wire Executive Editor John Bickley. It's Friday, November 21st, and this is Evening Wire. President Trump hosted incoming New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani at the White House today in a much-anticipated face-to-face. The meeting was closed to the press, but the pair took questions afterward in the Oval Office. The president struck a positive tone and emphasized a shared desire for the success of New York City and its people.
We have one thing in common. We want this city of ours that we love to do very well. The better he does, the happier I am.
Mamdani echoed the president's sentiment.
I appreciated the meeting with the president, and as he said, it was a productive meeting focused on a place of shared admiration and love, which is New York City.
Both the president and Mamdani fielded several questions about past comments they'd made about one another, with one particular standout moment.
Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Mamdani was in the headlines earlier this week when he responded to an anti-Israel mob targeting a Manhattan synagogue. Daily Wire reporter Zach Jewell has the latest.
The mob blocked Jews from entering while chanting death to the IDF and from New York to Gaza, globalize the Intifada. One activist yelled to the crowd, quote, "It is our duty to make them think twice before holding these events." In response, Mamdani's press secretary issued the following statement. The mayor-elect has discouraged the language used in last night's protest and will continue to do so. He believes every New Yorker should be free to enter a house of worship without intimidation, and that these sacred spaces should not be used to promote activities in violation of international law. The synagogue was hosting an event organized by a group that provides assistance to Jews who want to immigrate to Israel.
Nearly 1 in 3 truck drivers pulled over during a recent operation in Texas were illegal immigrants, many of whom received commercial driver's licenses in California. Daily Wire immigration reporter Jenny Tier has the story.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott revealed this week that Texas troopers, with the help of federal immigration authorities, found that 31 of the 105 truckers they pulled over in the state's panhandle on November 11th were in the country illegally. The sweeps follow a series of recent fatal crashes that were caused by illegal immigrant truckers carrying commercial driver's licenses, and as the Trump administration commences a nationwide crackdown. Abbott said in a statement, quote, "Millions of Texans drive on highways, roads, and streets every day. When illegal immigrants break the law and illegally drive on our roads, they endanger the lives of countless Texans and Americans."
Meanwhile, the Trump administration threatened action on CDLs in another blue state, Pennsylvania. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says he'll withhold nearly $75 million in federal funding unless the state revokes the illegally issued trucking licenses. Pennsylvania was found to have issued the licenses with expiration dates beyond a driver's authorized stay in the U.S. and without requiring them to prove that they were legally in the U.S. at all. The Transportation Department has already withheld $40 million from California for failing to enforce the English language requirement for truck drivers.
A Republican senator says taxpayers are being forced to foot the bill for around $250 million a year in SNAP benefits, all spent in just 9 blue states, and all on fast food meals. Daily Wire assistant editor Andy Valdez has more.
Iowa Senator Joni Ernst said that 9 states, all of which are Democrat-led, have participated in the restaurant meals program. That program has a loophole that allows money to be directed to fast food purchases. And in just 9 states, Arizona, California, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New York, Rhode Island, and Virginia, $475 million over the course of 2 years went to fast food joints. That's about 90% of the funds for the whole program.
A panel of federal judges heard a case this week challenging North Carolina's new congressional maps that add another Republican-favored seat, just days after Texas said they're taking an appeal to the Supreme Court over their own maps. Daily Wire political reporter Cameron Arkin reports.
The plaintiffs in the case, including the North Carolina NAACP, argued that racial gerrymandering occurred in the creation of the GOP-created map. A decision from the court is expected by December 1st. The Democratic National Committee called it a, quote, rigged congressional map that further weakens the voting power of Black and brown communities across the state. But Republicans in the state said they were actually counteracting longtime gerrymandering efforts in blue states. North Carolina Senate Leader Phil Berger said, quote, across the country, Democrat-run states have spent decades ensuring that Republicans would be drawn out of Congress. North Carolina Republicans will not sit quietly and watch Democrats continue to ignore the will of the people in an attempt to force their liberal agenda on our citizens.
A new investigation co-authored by Christopher Rufo found that Minnesota is drowning in welfare fraud. Billions in taxpayer dollars have been stolen during the administration of Governor Tim Walz alone, according to a report published by City Journal. Quote, in many cases, the fraud has allegedly been perpetrated by members of Minnesota's sizable Somali community. That's according to authors Ryan Thorpe and Christopher Rufo. The report also states federal counterterrorism resources confirm that millions of dollars in stolen funds have been sent back to Somalia, where they ultimately landed in the hands of the terror group Al-Shabaab.
Former A-list actor Kevin Spacey says he literally has no home following the massive fallout from his sex abuse scandal. Daily Wire entertainment reporter Amanda Harding has more.
The 66-year-old Academy Award winner detailed his struggles in a recent interview with The Telegraph, saying he lost his Maryland residence, where he had lived for 12 years and is no longer a property owner. He told the outlet, quote, I'm going where the work is. I literally have no home. That's what I'm attempting to explain. The actor has faced multiple sexual misconduct allegations, including a high-profile civil lawsuit from actor Anthony Rapp. A New York jury found him not liable in 2022. Spacey was also charged with 9 counts of sexual assault involving 4 men, citing incidents between 2001 and 2013, but he was acquitted of all charges in 2023. Several other cases were dropped or dismissed. Despite Spacey never being convicted, his career was destroyed.
New FBI data shows the U.S. is more violent than other wealthy nations, but also that homicide rates have fallen over the past 4 years. The new data shows there were almost 6,000 fewer killings in 2024 than in 2021, with drops in both red and blue states. Criminologists say there's no single cause, but point to pandemic-era investments in violence interruption, tougher enforcement, and reopened schools and a stronger job market.
A New Jersey airline pilot has become the first person to die from a rare tick-borne syndrome, which causes a severe allergic reaction to red meat. 47-year-old Brian Paul Waitzel collapsed after eating a burger just weeks after a similar reaction to steak on a family camping trip. Health officials say the condition is triggered by a Lone Star tick and has surged across the Northeast, with thousands of suspected cases in recent years.
Iran is facing an escalating water crisis so severe that its president has announced the country must move its capital. Tehran has become overwhelmed by water depletion, collapsing land, and infrastructural strain. Parts of the capital are sinking by up to 30 centimeters a year, which Iran's president called a catastrophe driven by decades of mismanagement, overbuilding in upstream regions, and disrupted downstream flows. With water resources no longer matching demand, he argued that continued population or construction growth in Tehran is impossible and that remaining in place means signing our own destruction. The Iranian regime is now studying relocation to the Makran coast, despite security concerns and the huge costs of such a move.
A federal investigation into the fatal UPS cargo jet crash that killed 14 people in Louisville earlier this month found signs of fatigue cracks in addition to areas of overstress failure where the engine connected to the wing of the plane. Video showed the engine falling off the plane after takeoff, resulting in a catastrophic crash. The plane hit the roof of a warehouse and then collided with an industrial area, which included a petroleum recycling facility.
The White House has enacted a new executive order designed to help young people better transition out of foster care. Among the order's directives is developing partnerships with agencies and leading private sector organizations, academic institutions, and nonprofit entities to create new educational and employment opportunities for individuals who are in or are transitioning out of the foster care system. First Lady Melania Trump spoke at the signing of the Fostering the Future for American Children and Families order last week.
This executive order gives me tremendous pride. It is both empathetic and strategic. Our united resolve will foster a thriving future filled with compassion and innovation. Together, we will illuminate the pathway for today's foster children to become tomorrow's builders. And tomorrow's builders will foster the future of America's legacy.
And Japan is confronting an unprecedented wave of bear attacks, what officials are calling a national wildlife emergency. Daily Wire senior editor Joel Needler has the details.
Nearly 200 people have been injured and 13 killed by bears this year. That's the highest number on record. Food shortages and shrinking rural populations appear to be pushing Asiatic black bears into towns and cities. Schools, parks, and hiking trails have been closed, and troops and riot police are patrolling forests. Officials warn encounters are likely to continue as winter approaches, leaving residents carrying bells and bear spray just to walk outside.
Those are your drive home updates this evening. To learn more about these stories, go to dailywire.com. And in case you missed it earlier today, we covered some major stories, including President Trump meeting with Zohran Mamdani, growing fallout from the Epstein files, and the September jobs report smashing expectations. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow morning with a weekend edition of Morning Wire.